Hey guys, John here, back for another video, and in this one I want to give all of you aspiring personal trainers out there a list of pros and cons of being a personal trainer for a commercial gym. Let's get started. So now let me preface this by saying I love being a personal trainer. I love being a personal trainer with my time at the commercial gym that I just worked at. I learned a lot, I grew a lot, I learned a lot about sales techniques and tactics. I grew exponentially as a person as well as a trainer, so I don't want to discredit that. But there are a few things that you guys need to know before jumping headfirst into this industry. So at first it might seem like such an easy career choice, right? You don't need a 4-year degree necessarily. You can get the NASM certification online. It might sound like all butterflies and candy or whatever, but there are a lot of caveats to that low barrier to entry that I want to get into today. But first, I want to talk about the pros because I want to start on the lighter side of things. So, number one, you're going to make so many personal connections. So with my time working as a personal trainer, I made business connections, I made friendships, I made basically people that I would call family that I could literally call on whenever I needed to, and they would be there. And that's something that's special about the personal training industry as a whole. You get to make these very unique personal relationships because you're spending 5 to 6 hours sometimes a week with these people inside the gym, where they basically use you as a personal therapist or assistant to kind of help them work through their own problems at work and stuff. Even though you're not necessarily supposed to do that, it's kind of part of the job, is being someone's basically counselor. The clients that you get will often turn into personal relationships and business friendships. I have a lot of clients that we work together on a lot of other projects, a lot of other business besides what's actually in the gym, and we actually kind of per se use each other for benefits. So the second pro on this list would have to be making your own schedule. So for me, I kind of took a lot of my clients in the early afternoon till all the way until we closed, so I basically could wake up a little bit later. That's because I was at the tier of trainer, so I was an elite trainer for my gym, which means I made $56 an hour out of every session that I serviced, which was very good. But a lot of the lower level trainers, so like the level 2 to level 3 trainers who were making anywhere between $28 and $38 an hour, they had to kind of take clients wherever they could, and they had to fill up their entire schedule. So for me, being such a high level of trainer, I was able to kind of make my own schedule to stack all my clients in the evening and only work 5 to 6 hours a day, as well as my prospecting time, and still come out with a decent sized paycheck. Number 3 would have to be just the sheer fun of training people in person. So right now I'm doing a lot of my training online because I left my current position, I left my old position at my old job to go back to school. But training people in person, there's just something about it that's special. You get to see the transformation in person every single day. You get to be that person's basically biggest advocate and cheerleader. It makes you feel very accomplished at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, we do this job because we want to help people, not to make the most money. Well, at least that's the hope. That's why I do this job. I love helping people. I love making these connections. And I love seeing the transformations that people can make using my programming style. So it's definitely more fun in person. So the online stuff that I have is a little bit disconnected because I basically send people programs, I look at their form videos, I get them to take their own measurements, but it's not like I'm physically doing it, which kind of removes you from that whole process. And it's not to discredit the online training business, but it's just more fun for me to train in person. So that's what I'm going to go back and do part-time when I have the time to do it. Number 4 on the list of pros would have to be showing up to work every day in sweats. I don't know how much I appreciated this until I had to go to a business meeting with someone and I had to dress up in basically slacks and a button-down shirt. I have not done that in the last year and a half for any reason besides my entry interview into the job. I haven't had to dress up like once since then. There's something to be said about being able to basically show up every day in a tank top and sweats. It's just so comfortable. It's so nice to be able to move freely, to be able to breathe. And then number 5 would have to be the pay is actually pretty decent. So when you have a full schedule and when you are working all the time and when you are an elite trainer or a super high level trainer like I was, you will make decent money. I'm not saying it's going to be a 6-figure salary for a while, and the problem is it takes a while to ramp up, get into that in the cons section. But the pay is actually very, very good for the level of entry of the job. Now, the level 2 to level 3 trainers at my old work, so take this with a grain of salt, the level 2 trainers are usually what you come in with, just a NASM certification. Level 3, you have one additional cert, so a degree or other stuff like that. And then Elite would be another certification on top of that, so either NASM CES, PES, or a second degree. And then you have the Master Trainer, and that's only reserved for people who have been with the company for 3 to 5 years and have trained a certain amount of sessions and done a certain amount of sales. The Level 2 trainers, definitely their paychecks would be a lot smaller, probably about 60% of that of mine. Same with the Level 3 trainers, it would be probably 75% to 80% of the actual paid grade that I was getting paid. And then there's me, you got paid $56 an hour, plus you would get commission on sales and supplements and stuff, as well as you also got bonuses if you were over certain sales marks for the month. So there were always nice little perks to keep you going, keep you growing in the business, but there were some definite cons to this industry that I want to get into now. Every job has its cons, whether it be sitting behind a desk all day. There's just a lot of cons to certain industries that you want to be aware of, and the personal training industry might seem like such a fantastic industry to be in, but it does have a lot of cons with it. And this is specific towards the people who are going into the commercial gym, so the Gold's gyms, the Crunch, the Club Sport, the 24-hour fitness. So this is not personal training in terms of private stuff. This is more general, broad, commercial gym stuff like 95% of you guys will do. So the first con I want to get out of the way is the huge gaps in your schedule. So when I first started working there, I had to take basically whatever clients that I could, and some of them wanted to train at 5 in the morning, and then some wanted to train at 9 at night. I lived about 45 minutes from the gym that I worked at, so I had to get my ass up at 3:30, 4 in the morning, eat breakfast, get changed, drink coffee, get in the car, drive an hour there, get ready for my session, train from 5 until 8 or 9 in the morning. Then I would have 9 until 2 p.m. to do absolutely nothing. And yes, I did get a workout in, but that only took me an hour and a half. And then after that I would get lunch, but then I would have to sit around for 2 to 4 hours because I didn't want to go home, because then I would have to sit through traffic again to get back. So I kind of stuck it out, sat through lunch, took a nap in the car, stuff like that, and then trained from 3 until 5, and then I would have like an hour gap, and then from 7 until 9, and then I would be done. And I would get home at like 10 p.m. and then have to get up at 4 a.m. the next morning again. So this is something you guys have to be aware of, because it might seem like you can make your own schedule, but you literally, at the beginning, you are making no money. So you have to take basically every single client that walks through the door, and you have to be very accommodating to them, because you want to build your business as fast as possible. And the fastest way to build your business is to be as accommodating as you possibly can, no matter how shitty the schedule ends up being. Number 2, commercial gyms have very high pressure for sales. And I know this is a sales position technically, but the way that I saw the management going towards is very sales driven. So let's say in a given week you were supposed to bring in, say, 2 to 4 new business units. And say that week the gym was completely empty, or it was a less busy week, say people were on vacation or something like that. So corporate doesn't see how many people come in and out of the gym as a reason why you can't bring new business in. So for me, even if that week was completely dead, and say you got super busy during peak hours, like you were training people from 5 until 9 and 7 in the morning until 10, when the busiest hours of the gym are, the only time that you have to prospect is in the mid-afternoon. No one's in the gym. Corporate doesn't know that, and they will start writing you up, or your boss will start writing you up, depending on how strict your FM is. And that's an issue to me, because they're kind of pressuring you to turn to snake oil salesman in a way, because you're expected to bring in X amount of new business every single week, and there's no exceptions, or else you get written up. And that's a huge issue to me. So number 3 on the cons list actually ties into the second one very greatly. It has to do with prospecting techniques. So the way that we're supposed to prospect is not very creative. All we're supposed to do is go out into the gym floor, set up a supplement table, or just work out and talk to people. Other than that, corporate wouldn't let us basically do anything else. So I tried to set up sign-up sheets for group classes I would run. I would try to go outside the gym, but corporate would never approve any of this. And this was a huge problem for me, because I basically exhausted all my other techniques, because I was there for so long and I was so busy in the afternoons that I didn't have time to prospect during peak hours. And the way that they expected us to prospect was basically hit our heads against the wall and hope to God that we can come out with some new clients out of talking to the same people every single day. Because my gym was very small, so we basically had the same members come in every single day with very little change to the member base. So that was a huge problem that I saw. Other gyms might be different, like the 24s might not be so bad, but when it comes to smaller gyms like the one that I was at, that's definitely one of the issues, especially dealing with a corporate gym as a whole. You guys won't have very much freedom to prospect the ways that you want or the ways that you see fit to kind of play on your strengths versus your weaknesses, you know? So the fifth one, the last one I'm going to talk about really quick is the pay. Now, I did say pay is decent when you get to a high level, but pay is sporadic. There were months where I made $500 every 2 weeks out of the paycheck. So I make $1,000 a month if it was slow. And slow meaning I'm training a decent amount of sessions, but at the same time, I'm not selling much. Because the bigger packages that upper management tries to get you to sell will basically put you in the hole for the months after, so you won't have a steady pay stream. You'll always have like a big month or a bigger month, and then you'll be completely broke the next couple months after that. So that's kind of one of the issues that I saw with being a long-term personal trainer, with no ability to supplement that income elsewhere because I didn't have the time, nor would they let me train outside of training at this facility. So the pay was very sporadic. I didn't have a lot of time. I was running myself into the wall. And from there, I was like, well, this definitely wasn't something that I wanted to do long-term, working for a commercial gym. And that was really one of the defining reasons why I decided to leave that position, was that the pay just wasn't consistent enough for me and my lifestyle right now. So I want you guys, again, to take all of this with a grain of salt. I want you guys to weigh the pros and cons of being a trainer yourself. I love the industry. I love all the people that I met. I love being able to work with people for a living. It's fun, and it's definitely a really fun career choice if you guys want to do it. The only caveat is you guys have to be aware of the startup times. It takes a long time to build your business from the ground up. The pay is going to be very sporadic, and corporate gyms are very difficult to work with in terms of trying to garner new business and trying different techniques with prospecting and stuff like that. So if you guys have any questions about any of this content, please feel free to shoot me an email. Follow me on Instagram. My social media will be right here. But as always, you guys can always feel free to reach out. I'm always available all the time for you guys as a resource. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and please subscribe to my channel.